Welcome to Team Angel's project, our last and final project for this semester. And here in creating a Sacrament meeting planner. And here is the group members, Ben, Wood, Sarah, Reed, Teresa, Tissel, and Silka Bessie Norma. And Sarah, each of us will demonstrate each part of the pages of the program that we created. Sarah will demonstrate the navigation, home screen, about page, and contact us page. She will also demonstrate the in-text page, sorting and filtering functionality, and demonstrate of adding a new meeting and explaining of the validation. I will also talk about how to demonstrate of the meeting details page, showing the speakers listed. I will also demonstrate of the edit and delete functionality for the meetings. Teresa will demonstrate of speakers count and allocation to add and view speakers, demonstrate of the graph functionality for the speakers, and she will also demonstrate of model classes that drive the program and demonstrate the database. Ben will demonstrate and explain of code and functionality that connected the speakers and the meeting. And he will also explain and talk about the CSS used.
This is our homepage for our Sacrament Planner app. From here, you can go to our About page where we explain the purpose of this application. You can go to our Contact page, it has our group members and our board contact information. From the home page, you can go to the Sacrament Planner app by selecting here. You can sort the Sacrament meetings by meeting date and also by the who's conducting. You can search by who's conducting. To add a new meeting, you go here to add a new meeting. Put who's presiding, who's conducting, any special notes like if it's a High Council Sunday or a General Conference. Here you can select a hymn from all of the hymns in the hymn book. Put who's saying the prayers. From here, these are all just the sacrament hymns. There's an optional place to put a musical number. Closing hymn, benediction. Click Select Meeting. We have validation on our meeting date. There's only validation on the meeting date because if there's like a General Conference Sunday, you wouldn't have anybody presiding or saying prayers or hymns. So if we select a meeting date that's valid, we can hit Save Meeting, and our meeting is added to our list here.
Here we're going to test this button if it's work. If we go to edit button, and then you will take us here, edit a meeting. So if you want to change the hymns or just, choose, and then the person who's doing it, just change it around, edit it, the information is there, and then if you're just updated it, you go. And then on the details button, you can see there's 3 speakers here, while on this list, there's no speakers. According to the here that we already added some speakers into it. And on the delete button, if you want to delete any information there, it will ask you if you want to delete it. So if you can just delete it, then you will automatically delete it from the meeting planners. And that's it.
So from the index page, you see that we have the number of speakers as well as the opportunity to add a new speaker or view other speakers. So if we wanted to add a speaker to general conference, we can do that, as well as we can go back to the current meeting details from this page, which shows the speaker as well as the meeting details. We can go back to the meeting complete meeting list. We can view speakers from this page. We can edit them. Which edits them there. From this screen, we can go back to the entire meeting list, or we can go back to just the current meeting and look at the meeting details. We can see that we still have 3 speakers here. We can go back to the speaker details, and from this screen, we can again edit or we can delete. So if we only want 2 speakers here, we can delete one of the speakers. Looking back at the details, we can see that there are only the 2 speakers there. And if we go back to the meeting list, it updates the speaker count as well. So that's the edit, the details, and the delete for speakers. Our program is based off of 2 classes. So our first model is our meeting class. These are the fields that are included in our meeting class. We obviously have an ID that's going to be the primary key for our meeting, as well as the iCollection for the speaker assignments, which connects it to the speaker assignments. The second main class we have is the speaker assignment class. It has an ID as a primary key, as well as a foreign key for the meeting ID, which connects it to the actual meeting. We also have the data annotations, giving it the actual name we want it to be displayed, and any kind of validation is also shown here in the meeting class for the date. Our models then connect to our database. So here is our meeting table for our database, allowing nulls for all of these items so that if we have it, like Sarah said, a general conference, we only want the meeting date and we won't be having all of these other items. But again, here's our primary key for our database and our table for our meeting. And here is the speaker table, which has the primary key and then the foreign key of the meeting ID, and then the speaker name and the topic.
Okay, let's take a look at, can you pause for a second? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just demonstrate the code behind the no speakers and the counting of the speakers. And what we did that was on the meeting controller for the index, or for the details. We had to add, or for the index, had to include the speaker assignments. It's an iCollection in the meeting model. Had to include that with an as no tracking. And then we were able to go ahead and count the speakers here. And then we just have an if-else statement. If there's no speakers in the iCollection, it'll just say no speakers versus actually counting the speakers. That's in the data model. And then we had for the details here, when you go details to the meeting and it counts the speakers here, we took care of that in the speaker controller, and the speaker controller in the, in the meeting controller and the details. Details here, we also had to include the speakers and as no tracking as well. And we had to verify that it was by the ID between the meeting and the speaker controllers. So, okay, so that was the code there in the speaker controller. One thing that we made sure as well is so that as was demonstrated before, as you go in and add the meeting or add a speaker or edit a speaker, that it's always referring back to this meeting, and that's being held in the speaker controller under the edit and details. We're holding the meeting ID for both of those. And under the create, we're creating it to make sure that it's created to that meeting ID. And then here's we post it as well, that it's going to this meeting ID, and for the edit. And then, so this is the get for the edit. And so it gets that ID from the meeting. And then when it posts, it will post back and then return the view, redirect us to just the speakers for the meeting that we're currently working in. So that's the explanation and code there. As far as the CSS, we have our CSS file, and we've imported our font, and then we do have just responsiveness. It does in fact shrink and collapse, and flex. So, okay, that is our Angels Sacrament Planner for CIT 365. Thank you.